Right, thank you very much. See, I'm all on camera and recording because we have had acoustic problems recently. This question that you have in front of you was actually first put to a public forum, the line of questioning, not by me, but by Puffles the Dragon Fairy here, to the Public Administration Select Committee, chaired by Bernard Jenkin, who several of you councillors will know. Mr Jenkin is the second Member of Parliament to mention Puffles the Dragon Fairy in a parliamentary debate. The first being Labour MP Kelvin Hopkins, and the third being one of the chair's good friends, Greg Mulholland. This is the same dragon that won 89 votes in the Coleridge ward at Cambridge City Council elections. Puffles is part of the democratic life of the city. Now, what do I mean by risk? In their report that Puffles was mentioned in, the Commons Public Administration, Select Committee said that all policies contain risks and that ministers must ensure that all policies have risk assessments done. These are policy risk assessments, not tripping over cables and things like that. So what do I mean by risks? I'm not talking about things that you may have seen in the headlines. Tories crashing the economy, Councillor Walsh being elevated to the shadow cabinet. I'm not even talking about the risks such as the risk of Mayor Lansley or even the risk of Mayor Puffles. So my question is, what risk assessment have councillors done with regards to the devolution east policy that you all voted through the consultation on at the last meeting?
I'm happy to say I can't hear.
Okay, well, I think the question is on paper, so I think I'll just straight on. I'm not entirely certain who's answering this question. Who'd like to answer? Are you done, Mr. Charlton? Yes, thank you very much. Councillor Cash.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Antony and Puffles. I think it's a fair question and challenge. What risks are there about the devolution deal has been signed? I think the first thing to note that what we've signed is a proposal. It's going through a process at the moment. It's not finalised. It is at this moment in time a work in progress. There are various stages of it. So the first stage was to have discussions with ourselves, with our partners, with the government about what a proposal might look like. And that came to council a few months ago. And that original proposal, one of the risks was it wouldn't be accepted. And that indeed was the case. It wasn't accepted. And so we went off and worked with the government and our partners and dropped an entirely new proposal, which was acceptable. So that was a risk that we dealt with at that time. The second part of the stage is where we are now. So we've agreed in principle a proposal to put to the public, to consult on it, to see what they feel about it, to see exactly the great detail and consultation and feedback on it, to see if it's something that we still want to progress with when it comes back to our meeting later on in the year, and indeed to demonstrate that the governance is sufficient to operate this devolution deal in a better way than Whitehall makes those decisions at the moment. And that will come back to us. And so that's another risk. It's nicely out of the way. Can we do a better job in central government? And then the third stage will be, actually, if we do go ahead, to draw up detailed work plans on how to achieve it. Now, I think it's at that stage that you will look at every single work stream and you will develop a risk profile for moving forward and analyse how you're going to mitigate the risk there. So a large proportion of the work is still in the future, but I'd just like to highlight some of the risks that have been identified so far and some of the things that have been done. So the first one I mentioned already is that the deal will not command support from all the organisations involved. Indeed, it didn't. We went off for a better deal, and now it has.
Councillor Cash, you're over your 2 minutes, but I'm going to indulge you because this is a matter of considerable public interest.
Okay, so very quickly, the other ones were that the deal would not be supported by or understood by the public, which is why we went to consultation, explaining that the deal will not have the support of government. We negotiated this every step of the way. We believe that when we get to the final thing, there'll be a yes. That the deal will not be deliverable, that is a matter of fact, that we've got to get all those work streams ready, and that the proposed new government arrangements will not be sufficiently transparent and accountable, which I've already mentioned. But I think all of us, or most of us, realise that the biggest risk of all would be if we don't have this. Just what kind of county can we then deliver to the people of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough without the kind of input that we're going to in terms of infrastructure, housing, capital investment and skills. So thank you very much for indulging me, Chair.
Can you hear, ladies and gents?
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Councillor Count. Actually, I pay tribute to the Councillor for being so explicit on the risks. I'm going to pick up on two. The first one, he said on transparency, I've thrown some freedom of information requests at Treasury and at the Department for Communities and Local Government. The Treasury have got over 2,000 mentions of Andrew Lansley on their systems post the 2015 election. And the Department for Communities and Local Government have got none in the context of devolution east. Transparency issues, big time. Second, with the consultation, because it's happening in the school holidays, there is a huge risk that young people will just be completely bypassed in this whole process. Also similar with the city deal and devolution east, there are some similar themes. Hardly any public events, and I can't see anything that actually brings together communities from disparate parts of the county, such as, let's say, Wisbech and Cambridge together, to see if we can solve these problems. I would love to see the council really addressing those issues, because you've shown you can do this with the SPICE time banking thing. So please learn from that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I can't answer for government, and the 4,000 mentions aren't enough. I can't really answer on that. But in terms of transparency for the organisation, one of the things that we were keen on here, when we actually passed the mandate last evening, was overview and scrutiny. And when we come back in October, we'll have that a lot more fleshed out so that we can see the transparency going ahead. Everything's published online, everything that we have come to see and do will be, and there's regular releases and the consultation is out there. And in terms of the consultation and timing, not all that was a problem that was recognised. There has been a fair amount of consultation going out there. It is agreed with all of our partners. There's a Mori poll, online poll. So we are trying to do as much as possible, but the timeline was predefined, so therefore it wasn't possible to adjust it as much as you would have liked. But I'm sure, because the consultation is being carried out by each and every one of us, forming one massive thing, I think that would be quite useful, the answers we get back. And in terms of working together, I think we've already experienced a greater bonding between certainly the county council and the district council from going through this process. Us being in the same room together, sometimes identified other areas that we can work together. So I think it's a positive process that we've been seeing here.